Hello, welcome to the Rhetoric Week Viva about industrialization. Today we're going to be talking about how industrialization made the average person kind of feel and how it affected their life. Although people tend to view industrialization as a really good thing with no downsides or a really bad thing with no upsides, it was rather somewhat of a mixture of the two. There are goods and bads to it. Industrialization had a wide range of impact on different people. There was reduced physical labor for some, but it also brought up conflict and destruction. And additionally, it changed society and kind of how that functioned. So the first point is going to be how industrialization reduced physical labor. Now, it seems kind of self-explanatory, but throughout history, people would generally provide for their own needs, right? They would have to build their own house, supply themselves with their own food, and generally provide those necessities for themselves. However, with industrialization, it kind of narrowed the scope of what you had to do, because now you did not have to, make your own food. You could rather buy it, and that sort of thing, where it sort of removed that aspect of having to be good at everything. Because of this, the skill set of people was actually narrowed, however, the proficiency was increased. Industrialization would lead to specialization, which would lead to wealth, which would lead to health, and ultimately that would lead to a higher, average self-report of how happy you are. So that's kind of one of the big upsides for industrialization. I have a quote here. Until about the 1800s, the vast bulk of people on this planet were poor. They were on the brink of physical starvation for most of their lives. And that's from Joel Mokyr. And industrialization changed that. And it's to the point where everyone can now economically flourish, and the wise usage of those the resources we have has allowed a better economy overall. So that's going to bring us to our second point, which is how it caused conflict. So people who were skilled workers, specifically weavers, their quality of life would actually decrease as a result of industrialization, because no longer is kind of their job as a weaver really useful anymore. And it's kind of like all this time they've spent is essentially gone, useless, wasted. And so they essentially did not like these machines. These machines were replacing them in a way. And so this led to violence, and they would go around, these weavers and different skilled workers would go around and destroy these industrial machines, and that movement is called ludism. So I have a quote here, and it's, the Ludites wanted to pass a law banning the machines. Instead, the government passed a law that made destroying machines punishable by death, and that's from David Kestenbaum. So yeah, essentially, it became illegal to destroy these machines, and so their kind of quality of life ended up decreasing as a result of this, and so there was destruction, people going around and breaking, the machines and such. And finally, our final point of today will be how it changed society. It completely changed society. It ended traditional jobs. It ended family structures, because you would now just go out to the factory and work rather than be with your family. It changed homes. It changed courtship. It changed community, and yeah, it really just changed the entire society and culture of life at that time. A quote here says, "What began to emerge was a division between home on the one hand and people's lived experience of the world on the other." And that's from Robin Phillips. So, yeah, essentially, instead of marriage used to kind of be more of a family-based thing, where it was more of the prearranged marriages and such, just more of a whole family thing. Versus now, if you go to these factories split apart from your families, it becomes more of an individual thing. So it drastically changed the culture and society of that time. So yeah, in conclusion, I would say industrialization reduced the workload, the physical labor for a lot of people, and that kind of led to wealth, happiness, good things like that. However, for these more skilled workers, it caused more of a negative impact, to the point where they would go around destroying these machines and trying to stop the Industrial Revolution from happening. And finally, kind of how it just changed culture and society as a whole, an absolutely drastic, crazy change for everyone involved. So yeah, that is the Viva on industrialization, and yeah, that's it. Bye.